Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today in this video. Again, I'd like to thank Hioki Singapore for sending me a unit of the DT4261 True RMS digital multimeter and the Z3210 Wireless Adapter for review. In this video, I will focus on the Hioki GENNECT CROSS app. I will treat the functional testing of the DT4261 in a separate video. I'm no expert in GENNECT CROSS app, by the way, far from it. But I do have a working knowledge of it from my experience using my comp meter, the CM3286, which has built-in Bluetooth adapter and can be connected to the app. I bought this out of my own pocket back in 2019. What is GENNECT CROSS? GENNECT CROSS, in its most basic sense, is an electrical measuring app. It is developed by Hioki of Japan for use with its Bluetooth devices, like this DT4261 with the Z3210 installed inside. To use GENNECT CROSS, we need four things: a smartphone, the app itself, the wireless device, the DT4261 here, and a measuring point. For demonstrating the fundamentals of the app, this simple voltage source like the outlet here will do just fine. The app can be downloaded from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Just like thousands of other apps, it's free and easy to install. Let me digress a moment and note that in some jurisdictions, a Bluetooth app may not be available. For instance, Fluke has its own wireless app called Fluke FC or Fluke Connect, but it's only available in some countries like the US. It's not available in the Philippines, at least not at the moment. But Hioki's GENNECT CROSS app is available in Southeast Asia, as far as I know, including the Philippines. So that's good service for the electrical practitioners in the region who might be using Hioki wireless devices. Even Kiritsu has its own app and also available in the Google Play Store. Installing the GENNECT CROSS app now on my cell phone. The app is now ready to be used. Ensure that the instrument is powered off. Install the Z3210 Wireless Adapter. Check that the Z3210 Wireless Adapter is detected. We know that it is detected because its symbol, the wireless adapter there, symbol, is on the upper left corner of the LCD screen. Note that we can temporarily toggle it on and off by pressing and holding the backlight button. Next, check whether the human interface device functionality is in the off status. Press the range button and turn the function dial to the ohms position. HID off. So the human interface device functionality is at off position. We need the HID to be at off position because we cannot use the GENNECT CROSS app if the HID status is at on position. Suppose it is at on position, what shall we do? We can turn the HID status to on or enabled by pressing the range and backlight button together and turning on the power. Set HID on. So when the HID is at enabled or on status, we cannot use the GENNECT CROSS app. However, we can use the HID direct input to Excel functionality. But for now, we want to use the GENNECT CROSS app, so we must disable the HID status. Press range and backlight button and turn the selector to any position. Auto volt is good enough. Set HID off. Notice that the power automatically turns off. We will just return the selector to the off position. Now that the human interface device functionality is disabled, we are ready to use the GENNECT CROSS app. One of the requirements to use the GENNECT CROSS app is to turn on location services. I have already done that. Let's open the app. It says here, "Thank you for choosing Hioki GENNECT CROSS. Agree to the privacy policy and use the application. Agree." Allow GENNECT CROSS to take pictures and record video while using the app. Allow GENNECT CROSS to access device location while using the app. We have to approve this because it needs access to location services. Also allow. GENNECT CROSS wants to turn on Bluetooth. Allow. To confirm a device, turn on location services, turn on the instrument and enable Bluetooth, and exit the app before turning off the instrument. OK. Thank you for choosing GENNECT CROSS. View User Manual. For now, I'm going to skip this one. This is the app's instrument settings screen. If it does not automatically detect the DT4261, toggle the wireless adapter off and on again. The wireless adapter has been detected. DT4261 with the version and serial number there. From here, I can name this one. Next, let's go to the home screen of the app. When I opened the app for the first time a couple of years ago, my reaction was, where do I start? The app itself is quite intuitive, and just by exploring it, here's what I discovered. The home screen tab at the bottom of the app is the app's main guidepost. If you somehow get lost, just press the home screen tab. It will take you back here. The other three tabs are also your directional guides. So we have the home screen tab, the data tab, the report tab, and the others tab. Right now, the data screen and the report screen are empty because we have not made any measurements yet. So let's fill them up with data. In the home screen, the first item on the list is general measurement. As you can see, whatever is displayed by the device is reflected on the app, but in even more details and options. In general measurement, we have the option to include a map. This might be useful later on in your report. Perhaps your client might be more receptive if they see their location in your report. Let's name this general measurement spot voltage. And then save the measured values. The data is now saved. Let's select logging and recording next. Now we see two channels with check marks, voltage channel and frequency channel. Press login and we are prompted to choose the monitoring interval. Logging interval 5 seconds, logging duration 24 hours. Cancel. I'll deselect the frequency channel so that I can activate the 1 second interval. Note that the maximum duration of the monitoring or the logging is only 24 hours, maybe even less depending on the state of the battery. And just to manage this logging duration, I'll choose 30 seconds. Start logging. So again, it is reminding me that the logging interval I chose was 1 second with a duration of 30 seconds. The logging will automatically stop, or you can manually stop it. I think that with 1 second interval, one can already detect possible cases of overvoltage and undervoltage conditions better. The logging has stopped and the GENNECT CROSS app switched to the data screen. Just like the general measurement data, I can recall this logging data and name it. I have the option to save screenshot. It is there, logging screenshot. while the other one is the lagging data. Going back to the lagging data voltage, so we can see the other information, statistics. It shows the average, maximum and minimum values. We can also save this screenshot. Going back to the home screen, let's try next the Waveform FFT function and select the instrument. Now we have a visual of the voltage waveform, not just the numerical values. This isn't possible with the DT4261 only, but the app really made good use of the power available in a smartphone to give such detailed measurement data. The app becomes a simple oscilloscope. Immediately after saving the screenshot, the GENNECT CROSS app switched to the data screen so that we can review the data that we just saved. There's one more data that I want to take, so going back to the home screen, let's try the Harmonics analysis function and select the instrument. The app now has even more visual data to show. We have a table of the harmonics order, total harmonics distortion, and a bar graph. Let's try the option to change the way the screen displays the data. And the harmonics analysis screen is now better presented. I believe that this is useful in preliminary testing for possible harmonics problems in a plant or electrical facility. This is not a substitute, of course, for a PQ analyzer or a dedicated harmonics analyzer, but a good support equipment still. And when you include this in your report, you not only speak with data, you speak with visual proof to support your findings and recommendations. Save the measured values. Save screenshot also. And measurement, not yet. I just want to save the screenshot. Lagging in the harmonics analysis screen is not the same as the lagging or recording that I previously made. When the harmonics analysis screen lags the harmonics analysis here, it takes snapshots at certain intervals. Let me show you. Start lagging. It shows here the lagging interval of 5 seconds and also the duration. If we select this and start lagging, the app just takes snapshots of the values at the stated interval. So if we look at the result of the harmonics analysis lagging, this is what we see. Just a series of snapshots of the values here. It is not a trend. However, this can be exported to Excel via a CSV file, and you can manually establish a trend using those values. For illustrating the fundamentals of GENNECT CROSS, I have enough data already, but let's go back to the home screen to take a quick look at the other functions. Now, the GENNECT CROSS app has a lot of functions available because it must be able to communicate with all Hioki Bluetooth devices, not just the DT4261. So, for example, I have here a battery tester for BT3554 series. I also have a vector, but this is only for the equipment called PD3529. There is also a function for FT4300 controller for the FT4300 equipment of Hioki. So all of these functions cater to different Hioki Bluetooth devices. Moving on, press the Data tab. In the data screen, I see a list of all the data that I have gathered. I can review them individually and change certain aspects of the data like the title, comments, and I can also add a tag. I can select which one I want to share. For example, my spot monitoring general measurement using the share button as a CSV or Hioki GENNECT format. Now CSV is compatible with spreadsheet applications like Microsoft Excel, while the Hioki GENNECT format, this is a file that ends in .hok or HOK file, and it can be opened by another cell phone that has a GENNECT CROSS app installed. So for example, if you want to share this spot voltage measurement and general monitoring to a colleague, you send the HOK file or the raw data, and he or she can open it in their own GENNECT CROSS app in their cell phones and review it. And after selecting the format, you can choose which way you want to send it, by email or any other means that you prefer. The data in the Data tabs screen can also be managed this way. Suppose you only want to focus on certain data. Select it and press this List tab or List button, and immediately all the other data are hidden. They are not deleted, they are just hidden, so we can focus only on the ones that we selected. But moving on to our next step in the demonstration, I'm going to select all this data in order to include them in the report. Select all, and then press the Create Report tab. Data is incomplete. Continue to create report. I think the incomplete info there means that some of this data were not annotated with comments or tags. Just create it. And we are presented with the cover format to fill up. So I named the report as Spot Voltage Report, report subtitle, load side outlet, report recipient, customer, and report creator, my channel. Click OK. And the report is being created. Now, after the report is created, and observe that it was created almost instantly, the GENNECT CROSS app switched to the PDF report screen. And finally, I have the finished product, a PDF report of the spot voltage measurements that I have done. We can review it from here. So that is our title page. Table of contents. Now, the order of topics in the table of contents follow the sequence of the functions in the home screen. So the general measurement, if that was included, will always be the first topic on the table of contents, followed by whichever function here that you used. Let's take a closer look at the PDF report before we move on to the last tab at the bottom of the app, the Others tab. So you can see the layout or the presentation of the PDF report is quite good. Other than the tiny fonts there, which may not be to one's liking, for example. So we have the trending of our logging recording. It includes also all the individual data that can be found and graphed there in the trending. Screenshots, the statistics that we saved previously, the Waveform FFT screen, and the Harmonics analysis data, including the screenshot of the Harmonics analysis, complete with the waveform of the voltage, the harmonics orders, percentages, and the total harmonics distortion. For me personally, I think that the PDF report is decent enough and can be presented to your client or to your customers or to your colleagues. We've looked at the home screen, the data screen, the PDF report screen. Now let's go to the last tab at the bottom of the app, the Others tab. The Others tab contains various miscellaneous support items: memo, instrument setup, take photo, edit search tags, user manual, user feedback, version, and Z3210 recovery. I'll just skip most of these items. I'll just look at the user manual. Now, the user manual of the GENNECT CROSS app is built in to the app. It is hyperlinked and it contains good enough instructions, including screenshots that you can follow along. To go back to the previous screen, just press the back button and you're back to the main user manual screen. I admit that I barely scratched the surface of the GENNECT CROSS app. There's a lot more it can offer than I knew at the moment, but I hope this walkthrough has been enough to introduce you to the main features of this app. That said, here are the things that I liked about it. Number 1, it is intuitive despite having a bit of a learning curve. Number 2, it is stable. It hasn't crashed yet on any of my smartphones. Number 3, the 1-second monitoring or logging interval is remarkable even for one channel only, given that this is just a portable multimeter. Number 4, the GENNECT CROSS app is as well laid out as can be expected, given the huge array of features it needs to handle. Number 5, impressive Harmonics analysis screen. The Harmonics visual screen will add credibility to the report. This and the other visuals should make this also a good teaching tool in learning institutions like colleges for engineering students. Number 6, the app can support up to 8 devices at the same time, although I have not yet tried this, and these devices will be listed here. At the moment, I only have one device, the DT4261. And number 7 and number 8, the report writer is fast and automatic, except when photos are included. Now, the video will not be complete without listing some of the things that I dislike. These are not really deal breakers as far as I'm concerned, but more along the lines of less user-friendliness in some aspects of the app. Number 1, the report writer takes a bit of time to finish the report, even with just one photo included. So the more photo you include in the report, the longer it takes the report writer to finish it. For example, in this data, I have a photo of the power panel that I monitored with the DT4261 and also gathered data using the app. This is only one photo. I will select this one and create a report out of it. I've already filled up the cover format, and now to create the report. So it's not as fast as the other data that I created into a report because of the presence of the photo. The resulting file size will also be a bit bigger. But the report writer still is doing a good job of creating that photo report. Let's take a look at it. So the title is Drainage Pumps. And the data that I gathered, including the photo. So the loading screen can also take a bit of time, but it is there. So the photo occupies all of the space in the last page. Number 2, the memo feature is a little clunky to use. And the reason for this is that the memo appears to be saved as an image file, not as a text file, so you cannot edit it afterwards. For example, here, how will you edit this one? It cannot be edited. The only thing you can do is add scribble marks on the screen. So that's one thing that I do not much like about. So if you save that one, you can find the memo in your data screen, but there's not much you can do about it because you cannot edit this one. It is now saved as an image file. Number 3. Font packs may need to be installed in your recipient's laptop just to view the PDF file that the app has created. This happened when I opened a PDF file report in two of my laptops. The PDF reader cannot display the app because it says it lacks certain font packs. While it's a small matter to download and install this, I just mentioned this because your receiver may not be very enthusiastic about installing a font pack just to view your file. To be fair, when the same file is opened in my daughter's laptop, it was displayed without any problems. So this may be just an isolated case or depending on the laptop's hardware and software installed. Number 4. The built-in user's manual help is not searchable. As nicely linked as the contents of the built-in user's manual is, you cannot search for a particular word or topic. There is no index as well. So this is a problem if you need a guide, for instance, on importing HOC files or for any other topic that you want help with. Number 5. Speaking of the raw HOK files, when importing a HOC file from within the app, in its import dialog box, first press the Data tab and the Import from Directory. We can immediately see that the directory structure is not very intuitive or not very user-friendly. If you are a programmer, this is not a problem. But to be fair, maybe this is just the way Android displays its directory structure. So even if I navigated to the directory where the HOC files are, here, Hioki files, the import dialog box cannot see the HOC files that are there, but they are definitely there, as I will show you. Using the Android File Manager, this is my Hioki Files folder. And there are definitely 3 .hok raw files inside. Since these .hok raw files cannot be seen by the import dialog box within the GENNECT CROSS app, how can we open it? One workaround I discovered is simply to select which one you want to open, let's say the one on top, and open that one as a document. Presented with the options to use GENNECT CROSS. Launch GENNECT CROSS. Yes. So a GENNECT CROSS app will open from within the file manager, and here on the data screen, there they are. The data that I gathered last September 1. Drainage pump breaker data. This is different from the data that I took just now, September 3. Number 6, and this is related to the number 5 above, related still to the HOC file. When you select and share the data as a GENNECT format file, there is no option to rename the file. As you can see, the app automatically names the file based on the date. Now each of these files is still unique because the numbers are not the same. However, I think this is not very user-friendly because it's quite difficult to determine which one is which. So I think one of the possible improvements that Hioki might consider is to provide an option to rename a file before the app shares it. And number 7, you cannot batch tag the data. You can only tag one data at a time. For example, I will select 3 of this data, click the tag and select test tag. Only one of them has the tag. So I think another suggestion just for consideration by Hioki, perhaps in the next version of the GENNECT CROSS app, if it might be possible to batch tag several data in the list at once. The GENNECT CROSS app is a solid Bluetooth application, though it still needs improvement in terms of user-friendliness in some of its aspects, as mentioned above. To be fair, I barely scratched the surface, and there's a lot more that the app has to offer. I believe that Hioki will continue to improve it based on user feedback. Overall, I think it is still outstanding in its main features: intuitive electrical measurements with impressive visuals, speed and accuracy of report writing, and sharing this finished product, a professional-looking PDF file, quickly through email to your customers or to your colleagues. I'd appreciate your comments and suggestions. Thank you for watching.